Good morning and welcome back to another episode on the Coin Kings channel. I am your host, Down to Crypto TA on the Coin Kings channel. All right, guys. So yesterday, I always have to start out with that recap, tell you where I'm at. I was looking for a rejection in here. I actually took a short in here. We did get a swing failure right here. I took another one right here because I got stopped out after taking profit off of the initial one. Because you can't play around. And so I was looking for a scalp. And then I took another one right here after we tapped into the 786. And I just opened up a new short. I just opened up a new short here. Even though we are inching a little bit closer to the golden pocket, there is some exhaustion showing in the chart in here on a couple of indicators. The thing is, when I look at it, it also comes with some slight bullish divs underneath as well. Remember, I tell you that when you start to get extremely extended on your way down, you put in bull divs. Like a lot of people miss that, and they only pay attention to bearish divergence, which is showing up in the charts as well. And eventually, it will play out, but it's a lot harder for those bear divs to play out than it is for that bullish divergence to play out, and that is what happens in the process. So oh boy. I got a really tight stop loss on my position here. It's more than likely going to stop out right here around the 1-to-1 if I get hit on it. I'm actually in profit right now by a 0.02%. So I literally just did it, right? I literally just did it. We're doing what's known as what I call, not what's known as, but what I call staying in the trap. So if you look at your 4-hour time frame, you'll see that your pullbacks are no more than your standard deviation 1 right now. So you're staying in between on your Bollinger. If you use a Bollinger Band, you're staying in between your 1 and 2. I don't think at this point price isn't even coming back into the 7 ribbon. We haven't even been coming back into this one. We're not tapping this at all. Like this bird feather right here is standing tall and strong like that. That looks really good. Nice spread on it. So volatility is increasing and not decreasing in here. We've been chopping around on this trend line right here, which I think at this point it's time for me to get rid of. It's not really doing too much. And this trend line right here, as I expressed, is, let me hide the indicator stuff. This trend line right here, as I expressed, is the one through here where we had multiple bounces. We had multiple bounces until we broke. And I said that this could act as some pretty decent resistance on Bitcoin. So I was going to keep it on the chart in case when we did get our breakdown, price came back up. I look forward to, try to hold price a little bit, simply because we bounced from it so many times that it makes it some strong resistance, some pretty fair resistance. Okay, I'm back up. I'm up like 1.30% right now. Thank you. Liquidity is sitting here. And I don't think that we reach, like I said, I know we're getting closer to the golden pocket. We have a couple of extra pivot levels in here. You will see price action push through those, but you want to see it retrace, if anything, because this is coming from the weekly. I mean, the zone is some heavy resistance. But you know what I haven't looked at? I haven't looked at my weekly average range in a while. So let me take a look at that. Can I find it? Can I find my war levels? I don't think I had this issue the last time. Let me push over to a different chart and see if I can spot it. just see. I would think that it would be on any of these. And I got so much going on in here. I got a lot of stuff in here. A lot of stuff in here. So that simply means I'm going to have to go back in, which is, unless I did it. Because that would be really good for me to have right now. To be able to look at my average range levels, which I don't seem to be coming upon. It's probably because I did them in Blowfin or something. It could be that I did them in Blowfin. Let me see if I have anything in here. So I think at the time I was using Blowfin's chart a lot more. Okay, I got them on US, on the index. Yeah, so shoot. Let's see if it was, yeah, I can see, you can tell I haven't used them in a while. So we just got through this one. You can tell I haven't used them in a while. And there's nothing but space in here getting up to this one. There may have been something in here that came from this zone in here that I just didn't highlight. Let me see. Hold them down, Bitcoin. Hold them down. Hold them bulls down a little bit, because it's looking a little funky for me. It's looking a little. I mean, I like the daily. But don't get it twisted. We still look at a little bit exhausted in here. Let me see. Turn that off. If there was a level that I missed in here, I'm about to find it. Yeah. I mean, there's something in here that I could potentially use. I mean, but we've basically seen that too. I'm just gonna clone and pull that baby out. All right, so that's one right there, and then let's see. It's this one. Let me hide this so it's not. I gotta hide this for a second so I can make sure that I'm putting this at the right point. Yep, states that that is the right point. These levels are much newer. I usually don't really care to start using new levels because they may not get the same respect. It may not get the same respect. But I went ahead and added those in here. Let me just adjust a couple of things in here, make it look a little. A little bit more up to date. All right, so I think that that's around the golden pocket though. I tell you. I'm gonna do this one right here first. Yeah, that's exactly at the golden pocket. So that's really helpless, useless. Let's drag this up and let's put on the 382 in here. Yeah, that's around the golden pocket as well. So around the 382, around the golden pocket, be looking for the rejection right there. I mean, that's not even any new information. Um, so as far as my chart is concerned, I think I'm gonna leave it like that. Um, with the 382 as opposed to the golden pocket. Fact. Oh, it's clicking on the wrong one. Yeah, that's the same thing that we were looking at before. Um, but I think I like it as opposed to the golden pocket. Give me a little extra. All right, lock that back down. Yep, unfortunately, no good. Because it's just giving the same information. All right, let me go back over here to Bitcoin on the lower time frame. And put this back on this one. Trying to see if there was something else in here that I was fancy with. Yeah, I think if I do that, because that's 84,650, 83,437. I'm still gonna do it. Do the same thing over here. So that makes makes a little bit more sense to me too. It's closer to hitting that 28 right there as well, because that's what we were talking about yesterday. Basically, price action being able to get up here into this 28 in here, which is pretty relevant. Yeah, I got stopped out. Pretty relevant strength. My stop loss is really close too. All right, I almost want to just jump back into it. I almost want to, but I know it's going to do that all the way up. It's just going to do it all the way up. It just hit that 1-to-1 there. And I didn't see a reason. I didn't see a reason to draw a new extension on this, because when we got this drop here, we did drop as far as the golden pocket was concerned. So I didn't see a reason to draw a new fib extension. Actually, that's one of the more decent pullbacks that we've got, because we've been pretty shallow on the pullbacks until about the 382 50% retracement. And this one right here managed to get into the golden pocket. So again, I mean, they were small positions to take, but nonetheless, I did make I did make money on them. I moved my stop loss to break even. Therefore, I had to continue to enter if I thought that we were going to stall out in here. You know, but that's all we've been getting in here. There is also this little rising structure in here, but actually it's a lot more visible if you're on the 4-hour time frame. So on this 4-hour, you can see it a lot easier right through here. You can see that structure, but like I said, it's putting in bullish divergence down through here. So if you just take a look, you really have to just really pay attention. You see those lows we're making through there? Those lows and prices continuing higher. At some point, it'll probably invalidate and the bear divs up here. And once it invalidates the bear divs, that can be the point where it actually gets a decent enough rejection. That happens sometimes as well, especially if the bulls The bears are really trying through here, and they're not successful. Um, once it takes them out this time, then it'll actually get that pullback. But it is only putting in bullish divergence as we're getting that that push higher. I usually don't go for this oscillator with that, but it's a lot clearer in here than anywhere else. So, but it would not be anything. Let me keep that one up. It would not be anything major, to tell you the truth. Have you seen the MACD? That's a confident MACD right there. That's a confident MACD. We need to see it start converging closer towards the zero line, and we're not getting that. So, I mean, that's everything just looks like continuation to the upside. Like it is not, like we want to see it start coming closer to, we want to see it start to roll down. It's not even doing this, not even rolling down right now. It's posture is strong. It is strong, very strong. Um, very strong here. I don't know that I have it over here. I don't think I have it. I don't have it on over here. I can put it on over here. Um, let's see. Yeah. So this one converged a little bit on this pullback over here, but still very strong in here as well. It's like these two are spaced out right now. Like it's not giving me that it's not giving it to me anywhere. You'll see the daily. Daily is looking really decent in here. We're quite extended though. That's why we have this green in here. It's extended, but it's bullish. You know, it's bullish. It's bullish, 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 bullish. And I shared with you yesterday, again, what I mentioned to you a few times before. I don't even have it on. I cut it all off. Okay. Tell you what, go to a time frame where I didn't cut it off. Could have sworn that this would not just the 4 hours. I'm gonna put this back on the 4. And ain't none of these liquidity levels are not getting tapped. That got taken out. Let me delete that. None of these liquidity levels are getting hit. I'm gonna turn off those liquidity levels. This is one that I added. So you need to get right in there and go goodbye. That's not gonna happen. I think I'm gonna drop it now. I think it's good enough to be dropped. Let me just check something. So that would have did the, cause one I did this one time already. But just in case I did not, let's get her done now. That just puts me back. It puts me in the same spot. Uh, mm, I know a chart. My bad. Yeah, it doesn't look like we really want to fade it, to be honest with you. It's a little off in here though. It's a little off. But I was mentioning this to you yesterday. This is the first time we've gotten back above here since we broke down below it at the all-time high. We dropped below it and we've been underneath it for a while now. And this is the first time we've come back above here. And usually when you get above it, you at least see a runner in here. Um, and as far as a pullback is concerned, it could drop as low as here, which is where we had that long setup sitting and waiting. You could drop this low and still continue that move up, just like it did over here. It could drop that low to that point and then still get the bounce back up and still be okay. But this is the first time we've gotten back above it, and usually that indicates like some sort of a stronger push to the upside. We covered that for the daily, which looks amazing with exception. There is some exhaustion showing up in here. Personally, that's my thoughts on it. Is that some sort of a rollover would happen now? The RSI, on the other hand, is continuing to push higher. Um, we're not meeting the energy that we met in here. Well, it's not, the momentum isn't here. So I would be looking for a swing fail, which we have not seen that swing fail just yet. I do have that laid out on the daily time frame, but it would be from this high over here. I think at one point I did look at this one here, but you have to stop looking at it when or at least I stop looking at it when it doesn't pose any threat, because price action and momentum are both matching right in here. I look for where it doesn't match, and so it doesn't match from this point over here, and we're starting to push above that now, which from there we could potentially see a swing failure on momentum take place. Um, Maybe with today's close. Today is Wednesday. Today is Wednesday. So this weekend could be a little bit different. Money typically starts leaving out on Thursdays. So yeah, that could be a little bit different. Did you FOMO into the Zcash? Which I'm gonna talk about Zcash too, because I actually sold my Zcash yesterday. Uh, the answer is no, I did not FOMO into it. I actually bought it on the dip, and I may have discussed it on this channel as well. I do believe I discussed it live on that about that entry on that pullback that we got on Zcash. I was up 100% on it yesterday when I looked at it, and I just bought it on spot. And so I sold it yesterday, and it of course it pushed up a little bit more from from where I sold it from, but it just hit one of my resistance levels or an average range. We're seeing a little bit of rejection on that, but yeah, I think over the weekend, or at least maybe even tomorrow, following today's close, we'll see some sort of reaction. I was looking for that on the weekly, and we weren't getting it, so just bear that in mind. The weekly still hasn't pivoted just yet, so no swing failure on the weekly just yet. But we're definitely done with this, so I'm just gonna take that away because we've eaten through that. I didn't see a reason again to pull another extension because this wasn't an extension move. Um, this is just a squeeze. This is really a squeeze. Let me try to its closest point. Nah. That means it would go higher if I was looking at it like this. Hold on, let me confirm. Yeah. Just have to let this one ride out a little bit more. We're at resistance, that's for sure. If I look at the 2 week, like we're pressing like face in it. Right here. Jeez. Okay. So I re-entered the short. I'm just gonna hold it. I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna give myself a little bit more room. I've been really tight on my stops. Um, so I'm just gonna hold this a little bit more in here. Let's see what happens. With the space I'm willing to give myself on this. If you wanted to be more conservative, if you were looking to short, which is very risky right now to even consider shorting Bitcoin. I need to delete this one. Very risky to even consider shorting as momentum is doing nothing but increasing. What I was explaining to you, if you were using your Bollinger, uh, you're pretty much staying. I'm gonna turn off my lowers. Let's turn off the lowers. You could probably keep that one on. Your mean reversion. But right now it's staying in the pocket. So bouncing from your standard one, rejecting around your standard two, even extended in here on Bollinger, even extended in here. Um, and then of course the most it did through here was that 20 SMA. But at least you know it's not going to break out again. Like it's not a situation where you're looking for it to break out again, um, because it's already had the expansion, and it's just holding into inside the pocket. So yeah, I'm just gonna again. I'm in the short. I'm gonna hold on to it for a little bit. And give myself a little bit more breathing room. You just have to know where enough is enough for you, and you really need to have I cut it off right here point. All right. I am still holding my long position as well. So we might just, I mean, we might just blast up to that. This is supposed to be what time frame? It is the 4. Okay. Let's zoom out so we don't get caught up on the petty moves from the lower time frame. I think that's important too. To zoom out. So I'm taking us off of that lower time frame. We're gonna focus on the higher time frame and work from this. And then that way there's no getting chopped up because we're so focused on the little small moves that we're getting off of the 15-minute time frame. We get thrown off. I was just saying that too. I've said that repeatedly too. Like I know a lot of times I come on here and I stream on the 15-minute time frame, and the only time frames that really matter at this point are the ones that are not given the mixed signals, and that's your daily time frame and your weekly time frame, monthly as well, which we did discuss monthly. And on the weekly time frame, we finally got above the mean on the weekly. We talked about the monthly time frame, and whenever price action moved above, well, when not price action, but whenever the RSI um, moved to the positive side of the mean, price did not make a new low. That was it. Um, as I was inspecting it yesterday, though, it looks like it has to close that way for this month, um, as opposed to me thinking that we sealed it from last month, so from April. But whenever it gets above there, you don't make a new low. Like historically, it has not done that. So I know it's a lot of things that we're all looking at historically, and it could be proven wrong. Um, but it is, it is true that anytime it got above that point, it did price did not make a new low. Like that was it. No new lows. And price continue higher. And the only difference I could see between the prior instances where that happened and currently is the space between the bands. We never had this much space between the bands though, and that's different. The bands were usually compressing, which indicates some sort of an expansion. Um, but they're wide right now, and that may, that's why I'm saying like it can't be invalidated or whatever. It could be a situation where it has to close the month of May above that mean, and then you get a little correction, which again you won't put in a new low, you put in a higher low, and the compression comes afterwards, and then price pumps. That can be the case. All right, Bitcoin. Oh, just an FYI, I moved my line. The line was like this forever and ever and ever. Um, Respectively, I wanted to move it to where we got the last little drop at. So I adjusted it a little bit in here for that. So it's no longer tapping here, but that's how it was before, right here. And it did its job. But I felt like I needed to adjust it. Uh, this is going to be, let me see what's right there. Do I have anything at that point? Yeah, I do. So it'll actually be pushing into this descending line right here, which you should be right there. Yeah. So let's just say something like that were to happen today. That makes sense. That trend line right here would make sense. That's going to match with the 86. That should be around about a 60 on your RSI. 60 on your RSI. You could choose to go more with the horizontal, which is what I prefer. It's just a horizontal flat line in here. Because when we came up here, I actually had us right here. We never saw momentum slow down. It never slowed down. in here. And therefore, the trend is still strong and up, is why I keep saying that the trend is still strong. We can look at all the lower time frames we want to look at, but the trend is still pretty strong as momentum is not slowing down whatsoever. I did adjust it from that level right there to here. But around about the 60, which is where this is here, 86, so 86, 80, we could look for a swing failure and momentum there. And I would pin it against this top in here on a horizontal level. Uh, and just looking back, you can see where we dropped into was here to get in our reversal. Same thing on the monthly time frame. It was a strong reversal area when we got it. Let's see what I have in here. Yeah, it could very much just still be that we do this right here. We're not reversing. It doesn't indicate a reversal in here. It indicates correction in here for now. It becomes a reversal when we're above when the MACD. You're gonna need to see a cross. If you're using, you can see it from your actual candlestick chart if you're using the ribbons instead. For the MACD, you'd be using a 12 EMA and a 26 EMA. That lets you know that your MACD is above the zero line. As long as the MACD is not above the zero line, that means that it's a bearish correction and not a bullish crossover. So do understand that. I follow a lot of channels. I never hear anybody just really explain that. I've been reinforcing it because I've heard a lot of channels talking about we got the MACD cross, but it just takes more than just a simple MACD crossing the 9 EMA, which is what they're talking about when they say we got the MACD cross. MACD cross above the 9 EMA. That's a fast signal for the MACD. The slow signal and the confirming signal is going to be MACD above zero, which is where you get your 12 and your 26 EMA crossover, which means MACD's cross out of bearish territory into bullish territory. Bullish territory is to the upside. Bearish territory for the MACD is below zero, which is why you see the aggressiveness here. It is when it's below zero, it's in a bearish environment. Above zero, it's in a bullish environment. Stays above the zero line. It's in a bullish environment. So yeah, it can be the start of that transition. You can see all the little green dots in here. You can see momentum agreeing. MACD agrees with the delta that we're moving higher. is where you see the green dot set in here. So, and then eventually MACD crosses above zero, crosses above the zero line, and then you start your big moves. But as long as MACD is still below the zero line, you're still in a bearish environment. It's still a correction in a bearish environment until that changes. Just slowing down the pace a little bit to, we can see some other signals, but if we just slow down the pace a little bit, we can also confirm that we have not flipped into a bullish environment yet. So you look back over here, it's slow. It is a slower signal, but it's a confirming signal. Here you can see MACD below zero. And we stay this way. And as long as we stay this way, we're just still correcting, which is why you don't just go with the MACD crossing the non-EMA, because you can continue to get the rollover like this. It's better to get it like this. And if you look back at it on a weekly time frame, the MACD has only crossed above the zero line 6 times. So 6 times it crossed above the zero line. 6. It has crossed the non-EMA about 25 times. So you would have had failing outcomes if you were just basing it on a simple non-EMA crossover instead of a 1226. And then, of course, 4 out of the 6 times that we did get the crossover of the zero line, we got a bull market rally. 4 out of the 6. You got a bull market rally. And I did all of the work on the Coinbase chart. So we'll go over that again another day, because I did go over it one time with you. But 4 out of the 6 times MACD crossed above the zero line, you started a bull market. And only 6 times has the MACD crossed above the zero line. Only 6, as opposed to a non-EMA, which is just a fast signal, as opposed to waiting for this right here to get a super rally, waiting for that crossover to get the super rally. And this chart right here doesn't give you too much information on that, as it is a Binance chart, Binance Tether. But the Coinbase chart has more data on it, and also the index chart. You can get a lot more information from the index chart, but that's what you want to see. All right, short paying out. Trying it again. That's all I can do. Try it one more time. But right now, this is decent move. And the 12 and 26 EMA, they're close to what I'm using now. They're not the same, but they're pretty close to what I'm using now. So you can see how close they are. This would be the 12 right here. And then the blue line would be the 26. So they sit relative close. That's why I tend to use my ones from my my RSI, because they're pretty close to the to my MACD. to the EMA 12 and 26. They're close enough. Interchangeable for sure. But good old Zcash, while Bitcoin is walking the line a little bit. So I'm down like less than 1% at the moment. Look, I'm just willing to take the chance. I'm just willing. So I'm down a little bit off of that new short entry. And I keep my stop loss tight because bears are not winning. Shorts are not. I'm not a bear, but the shorts are not. The shorts are not what's happening right now. The shorts are not what's happening right now. We did create some new liquidity overhead. Let me see where we're at on that liquidity. Yeah, we just pushed into that liquidity. With that little last push we got, we pushed into that liquidity that we had here. So just look for some new liquidity overhead because because of the people who are trying to take a short on it, including myself. Yeah, we haven't been coming back for liquidity down below. Let's see, model 2. Prefer model 1. All right, while I hold my losing short trade, I'm gonna take a look at Zcash. So Zcash has been an absolute runner. I actually sold when we got in here. When we got in here at 4:30, I sold my Zcash yesterday. I literally had not looked back at it since I bought it when we got the pullback, and I bought it on the pullback. back into here. I bought it in here. I bought it at 200, exactly at 200, back in here. And I just had not looked back at it. Uh, since I bought it on spot, if I was leverage trading, I would have been checking it repeatedly. But since I bought it on spot, I was like, yeah, that's the great place right there to buy it. And I bought it, and then yesterday I looked at it. It was like, okay, you're up 100%, a little bit over 100% actually. So it's like, okay, well, I guess I'll go ahead and sell it. And then we got this break out of here, and we just tapped into this average range here. Now, yesterday I did not have my average ranges on. I was actually looking at some 4-hour stuff, and the 4-hour stuff is what really messed me up too. I probably would have held it a little bit longer, maybe not. It doesn't really matter. I've gotten juice out of it, so that's good. Got some pretty good juice out of it. And I'm just gonna wait until I see some sort of a consolidation from it. If it comes from here, if it doesn't, there's only one more level up in here, and that's the 672 in here. That's the last average range in here. It's gonna be here. So the average ranges, you just think of them like you think of VWAP, volume weighted average range. So it's similar to that in how I locate price action, like where participation was at, the most participation for potential rejections or support levels at. Um, and One day, I've said this for years now. One day I'll share my secret on what I use because it's the most simplest thing ever. It is the most simplest thing ever. I discovered it when I first got into technical analysis. It is one of the most simplest things ever to spot these. You can use pivots, you can use other things, but I like to use the average on it, which comes in handy a lot of times. Most of the time, it comes in very, very handy. I think this and this are newer. They're newer levels, and I don't really trust newer levels that much as opposed to old data, which is why I took the long down there at the 200 because it's old information. So you got old money there. But yeah, this cap out right here is working. It looked like whatever happened in here looks like some people were probably trying to play like a fib level or something like that. Possible. Um, but that average level right there, and again, this is the very last one to the upside. There is no other one past this. So I think Zcash was also doing good against. This was back when we had the ascending broadening top. We got the breakdown um, against Bitcoin as well. I think it's performing really well against Bitcoin. One that I'm still waiting on to pick up is AVAX. I'm still holding my AVAX leverage loan position, which it's been up and down on AVAX. I talked the Coin King into it too, so we are up slightly on that. I have not added into that position. Make sure I didn't pass it. So AVAX is still. I'm gonna go back to a weekly time frame on AVAX because it is this. It's still like at the very lows. Like it's still down here at the very bottom. But this is where we picked it up from. I said it's risky, but it's an opportunity to buy it at its lowest level in here. I think I could put in like another average range in here, and I might be able to put in one down here too, because like I said, the way I calculate it, the way I get it, has nothing to do with the price action. It doesn't have anything to do with price action. It has to do with another indicator. Um, so I could probably pick up the other additional ones even for lower. But we bought it there, and currently, let's see, and I was on stream, and I said I think that it's a good buy. I would buy it, so it is in profit. It is in profit. Got it from the 895. So just still holding it, waiting to see if we don't get that ride up on it. And it's not a lot of capital on it either. It's a 3x trade. It's not a lot of capital because it is a risky bet, you know. especially when you got something that's falling all the way back down into here. We talked about the fact that it does have like this squeeze on it. And every time it has gotten a squeeze in the past, it did get a nice little pop to the upside. I don't even think that AVAX has push. Where we at? Where we at? Yeah. So we're still somewhere down by about a 40, more than likely on the RSI. We're like a 40. Yeah. See, we're about a 40 on the RSI because we're just tapping into this one. We hit a 50. We hit a mean reversion up about 12. At $12, we hit a mean reversion. I don't really have anything in here that would pose a problem, which suggests to me that we would come up at least into 16 here before I would have an issue. And so that 16 on the weekly time frame is going to be around about a 60, and that's going to be here. So this is the one that I would be watching for on a push up into, and over time it will change a little bit. So I have to see how it changes over time. But right now, that is what, you know, this is what I would be watching on it in that push up. And then we see if we get a correction and possibly even put in a little higher low in here on the weekly time frame. If we get a higher low, then things can start to juice up on AVAX. But I like it. That's why I took that chance right there. And I said I got in at what price again? $8.95. Yeah, so we barely bounced up off of the lower band down here. We'll see. I hope it does a Zcash for me. That would be great. That would be great. I don't know if it'll do that, but that would be great. And then what I put that MACD? Oh, I can delete that. What else is in here? Yeah, I want that. I don't really need to see it all the time. But this has been a common thing too on AVAX is when it gets deeply extended. Now you can see how it, you got this sort of ending formation in here, some sort of a fallen wedge right in here throughout here before getting the bounce up. It's the only other time with that, but I recall each time in here that there was a band squeeze. And I think that we had the Bollinger Band squeeze in here, still squeezing on. Yeah, so it's still compressing. And let me see. Takes momentum. ET, ultimate, it's not equivalent. Space. She's using this for something else, but I'm going to get rid of that. But yeah, it's still compressing in here. Compressing, you get a nice little pop to the upside. You can't tell it right here, but it did have compression there as well, which is why I'll use this instead. To highlight where the pressure's coming in at. So like I said, the green down in here tends to lead to a pop. Oh, it actually doesn't show up over here. Okay, so it actually didn't show up over there. My bad. I could have. I was thinking that it did show up back here. I could see it off the indicator, probably more than likely. I can tell you another trick, but I think I'm gonna start saving all of my tricks. I know another trick on that. I just gave you a clue. I just gave you a clue. I don't think we're anywhere near it right now. No, we're not anywhere near it right now. So I'll let you know when we do come near it. But yeah, still waiting on that to finish developing, but I felt that it was worth the buy. I felt that it was worth the buy. And therefore, I bought. I bought. Let that energy rise up on AVAX. I think a lot of other altcoins have been doing pretty decent. Oh, how is Algo doing? Because we talked about Algo, and I think I put out a post back then, and I said take some profit off of Algo.
When you do the Harry Potter accent.
And I did mention taking some profit out of Algo, right around where it is. And that post is, let me see. Let me search down the crypto TA. $. Algo. It was 1286. What was it? It was 1286 and something something. So we actually haven't even hit that yet, I don't guess. Let's see, what was the high? 1270. So the mean will slide a little bit, but back on April 3rd, I mentioned that it was a good idea to take profit at the mean. Target 1 was here. Target 2 is going to be here. So this did slide a little bit down into 1531 because at the time when I talked about it, at the time when I did mention it, it was a little bit higher. So you just have to understand the flex in there. And then, of course, like I said, the other one, the 16 has slipped a little bit more down into 15, which is a good thing. That's a good thing. So if you're in Algo, you know, but I need to make these stick. Not bad for Algo. I'm kind of surprised at myself holding on to Bitcoin with this little push. It hasn't even hit that bandwidth. That standard deviation 2 on the band just yet on the 4 hour. So I'm giving myself a little bit of grace for that. I'm just gonna have to take my L on that short. Ugh, it's hard to short Bitcoin right now. Very hard. Bitcoin is like I'm getting to that golden pocket in that 382. I'm getting there. I'm getting to that 20 at 20 28. Cool. But yeah, Algo looks good. So Algo keeps pushing up. I'll be looking for, that's exactly what I'll be looking for right here. Hopefully it does more and it actually gets a breakout. But I would be looking for some sort of a possible that you look for some sort of a correction there. Like you didn't have anything back here. Yeah, so if you just see it push through and just blast through, just let it go. Just let it go. Because Algo did start out with a squeeze in here too. These are all the ones that I looked at that had the squeeze. I think I talked PayPay as well. I said PayPay was going to be a good buy. I think PayPay could be. I wasn't going to touch PayPay until PayPay got above. Um, I think I said the mean, but let's see on PayPay. Because I think I was talking about the mean on PayPay. That I wouldn't touch it until that. So it did just get above here. It did just get above there. Last week it looks like it broke above it a few times, but this spread in here, I don't know about this spread. I'd rather see it clamp down like this. This is the same kind of spread we have on Bitcoin on the monthly, which I mentioned was different for Bitcoin than the other times that we did see that pop. Uh, we don't have that compression. We got a spread. So let me take that away. I think I was using that. Why was I using that? This is all a beautiful inside range though. Oh, wow. That might be, yeah. It's likely your target on Pepe. So it is above the point of control. I don't know what this line is for. I'm going to delete it. And then I really don't know what this one is for. So I'm going to delete it. But it was sitting on top of this right here, and it's pretty close to pushing up towards that, towards the 50. The mean of the RSI is going to be right here for Pepe. Pepe with the beautiful squeeze in here as well, and you can see that it must be above the it's above the 20 SMA, because that's the reason why it turns gray is when it's starting to expand. Let me see if it is actually expanding though. No, not yet. Not yet, but it could be getting close to it. It could be getting close to it. But I just wasn't willing to buy Pepe. So I'm sitting out on Pepe. And then the other one was Dot. But then something happened with Dot, did it not? And I said I would not be buying that one until it proved itself as well, which I don't think there's anything to prove on that one because that one got in some trouble. Yeah, this one got in some trouble. As we were looking at this one. Yeah, it's so not worth looking at because it has done the most. I don't know what happened with it. Oh, Bitcoin killing me over here. How's hype doing? Stop playing with it. Stop playing with it. Okay. So it is at a potential resistance level in here, which is this one. It looks like it's already pushed into it one time for a rejection, second time coming into it for potential rejection in here. This is the absolute last one that's in here for it. But this right here looks pretty decent in here. I like to see swing failures. I'm sorry. Momentum momentum showed that it could get higher. Um, it didn't fade until it got here the last time. So I look for the juice to continue to push up a little bit more in here and then see if it fails for a lower high. Uh, but aside from that, um, and I can see the little formation in here. Bitcoin is pushing. Bitcoin is pushing. That's a failure. That's why I don't like doing it like this sometimes, because if it doesn't match, I don't want to force it to work. So I'm gonna leave it. It doesn't match. Hold on, maybe it matches through there. Sometimes it can just be the drawer. The artist can be wrong. Let's see. Yeah, I think the artist was wrong. So I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna look for that as well. Let me just flip this to orange. But momentum is increasing in here. I would let the momentum continue to rise. This doesn't look like it's going to turn around just yet. And even if it does, it looks like it might even put in a higher low. Let me see. Maybe, maybe not. It's not even breaking back down 100 yet. You want to see that? This just got a MACD cross. It just got the MACD just crossed above the delta. Delta and MACD are both pushing up. So yeah. As long as that MACD keeps rising, you don't have a reversal on hype. As long as that MACD keeps rising, yeah, be looking for this thing to go higher. Let me see what your trend strength looking like. Not quite there yet in terms of the trend strength, and it's probably because it's been choppy through here. But as long as that that MACD continues to rise, this will just keep pushing up higher. So if you're looking at this, which I'm sure somebody is looking at this, if you're looking at this, however you want to draw it out, it's not really connecting. So let me move it like this. Yeah, that'll make a lot more sense right there. Because otherwise it's not really connecting. Oh, Bitcoin just keeps pushing. It is pushing outside of that standard deviation too right now. And it doesn't look like it's going to slow down. I'm going to get back on Bitcoin because Bitcoin is saying, girl, close out that thing. Close out that position. Like right now before I wreck you. Oh, boy. I'm down like 11% right now. Shorting is not the move, that's for sure. And I haven't got any type of momentum hasn't slowed down either. Yeah, momentum hasn't slowed down either. I'm just trying something right now. Calm down, Bitcoin. But yeah, I will be looking at it like this, connecting these last few points through here. But momentum is still increasing on this one, so there's no reason to fade it just yet. You do want to see momentum turn down. You can see it's just continuing to rise. It's not turning down. It's not breaking any bounds. So Hyperliquid, in my opinion, continues to look nice. And what may end up happening in here is you just get a little bit of a correction and then a continuation to the upside. That looks more like the outcome in here for this. There's nothing for me to count in this regard. What did we bounce from? Did we bounce from we bounce from? Okay, we bounced from in here. Yeah, this could, yeah. I mean, this looks decent in my opinion. I wouldn't fade this. I wouldn't fade it. Lord forbid. Oh man, it just got worse. Bitcoin just got worse. I'll just push up. MACD is standing straight in the air. All right, I'm closing it. MACD standing straight in the air on that 15-minute time frame for Bitcoin. Look, 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 look. This, jeez, this, and I mean the MACD is just straight in the air. Oh, I should have taken a long. I already got long open though. Oh, jeez, 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 jeez. Hold on. What we doing? Nah, I just think we're going for that golden pocket or that 382. I think that's it for the end of the day. We're just pushing up here for it. Yeah, that daily doesn't look like it's ever going to come back for a long time. On one indicator, it looks that way. Another, it looks like the weekend will give it a pullback. Sheesh. Fire. I shouldn't even been playing with it because momentum never turned down. But I wanted to play around, so I had my fun. All right, so no turn down there. I'm just gonna look for a turn down here, get my little capital back. I'm gonna wait this time. Will not be in a rush. We're around about some unsustainable levels, but before I take that move, I want to assume that those levels are actually going to hold up. All right, so let me give it that. I started to buy this last night. I was watching this last night and I saw it and I started to buy it. Initially, I had it over here on this one. And once it breaks above it, and if it fails it, then I have to move it. So I moved it for here, and then this drop right here happened. It was this one right here that made me want to buy it because we didn't have the same energy on the move down right there off of that wick. This wick over here, we got that drop. We didn't have the same energy, so I started to pick it up right there, and I was like, because I'm using another account to take the short from. Because I didn't want to mess with the long that I already have open. And I just figured, okay, I just, try for a short, which I did. And like I said, I was successful with taking some profits on on all three of the shorts that I did take. But yeah, I started to pick that up last night. I started to. Looks like I should have went with that because we're not pulling back enough. And you can see how shallow our pullbacks have been. Like our pullbacks have just been shallow as crap. All right, I'm just waiting. but I am gonna do it as soon as I see something that indicates give her a shot. Give it a shot. Like real, really like give her a shot. Not take my feelings out of it now. I really hope Zcash comes back some though. Zcash is the only thing in my portfolio that I did not do a DCA on. It's the only thing in my portfolio where I wasn't looking for accumulation during a bear market. It was the one that I looked at and I was like, it's gonna pump from here. And I bought that one. That's the only one that's been giving me some returns because I chose not to care about a bear market strategy with it as opposed to I don't want to leverage trade it because I can afford to buy it on spot and not worry about the hassle of a leverage trade and bought it and got major returns out of it. So that and Solana's down, but I did pick Solana up when it was in the $20 range. So I'm not technically down on Solana either, but everything else I bought based on bear market accumulation, and it's down. My portfolio is just red. It's red. If I'm making money right now, it's in the stock market. I just the stock market is acting like the crypto market, and the crypto market is acting like the stock market right now. Well, stock market would be slow, and and crypto has been very slow. So it's the only place I'm making money. I think momentum is gonna drop a little bit, pick back up a little bit, and then drop again, and then that's gonna be a scalp position for the 15-minute time frame. That's my thoughts on it. Unless it starts to roll over rather fast, let me just go ahead and set myself up for excellence here. I was liking that wick when I saw it, but I'm like, I'm gonna wait. Not gonna mess around with the wick. I'm gonna wait. It did get very extended on everything on the 15-minute time frame, but it's just a 15-minute time frame suggesting that. Um, and there it goes. Starting to turn down a little bit right there with a little small reaction. I think it'll do it twice. So I'm saying it again. I think it would do it twice, but everything reads overextended through here. Let me not say overextended, but extended. There's no such thing as overextended. It is extended to unsustainable levels, potentially unsustainable levels. Let's see. What are my thoughts on this? Dun, 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 dun. Too much. Hey, 60. You okay?
You still on the phone?
Yeah. I don't even think it comes back down this low. Um, what crypto YT? Good morning. BitTunix. I did not get set up on BitTunix. I don't. I can't. I don't think that I can use BitTunix as a as an. Can we use BitTunix? I don't know that we can, but I would definitely check it out. But I got my money off of BTCC. I did transfer my cash out capital out of BTCC. So it'll be a while before I decide to go back and use that platform. One thing about an RSI, which is why I don't do it anymore, I don't care if it's at 80. I don't care if it's above 70. I don't care about any of that. I care only about where does it start to show weakness at. That's it. That's all I care about. Where does it start showing weakness? Because if you get stuck on that idea, you'll find how many assets actually the RSI can be at 90. Zcash is a great example of a RSI sitting in 90. Gold is a great example of a RSI sitting at 100. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't. I let it push up as high as it wants to push up, and then when it starts to turn down, that's when I'm interested. So I encourage you to please not get caught up on RSI being above 70, RSI being above 80, thinking, okay, it's oversold. It has to turn up, or it's overbought. It has to turn down. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. So it's just better to wait and let it do those things and forget about the fact that sure, it's considered to be levels where it may be unsustainable. However, if it's sticking straight up in the air, it's sticking straight up in the air. Not rolling over. Probably not the best. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's still increasing, if momentum is still rising, it's still rising. And where does the weakness start to come in? That should be your only concern. Not if it's sitting above 70, not if it's sitting above 80, not even if it's at 90. Doesn't matter. And even then, when it does, like how much did it chop coming up? Because if you got a lot of chop coming up, you got points in the chart where you could start to see bullish divergence. That's the first thing you're going to capture when you get an RSI that reads, levels like 70 is nothing. 70 is honestly nothing anymore. It's nothing. But when you have an RSI that's sitting up at 80, sitting up at 90, like how much chop did it do coming up? Because again, once it does, momentum does start to turn down. It's only turning down probably because it's maxed out on its ability to push up, but it doesn't mean that price won't continue higher, because then you'll start to put in bullish divergence on the rollover. So I don't see any chop through here right now. We'll see if it does start to create some though. Which is why I said it might turn down once and turn down twice before it actually works out on this one. I use weeks, but their output for taxes. Ooh, it was horrible. I'm so glad we've gotten through tax season too. So glad. Taxes is harsh with trading too. Very harsh. I think this might try one more time. So I'm gonna push this over here. I don't. It was difficult to. Oh, okay, it was difficult to convert it. Yeah, Coinbase does a good job with that. Weeks does Weeks have good fees? Are they pretty standard? Have you ever used Blowfin? Because it might be standard to Blowfin. So I'm just asking. That or Bit2Next fees low are relatively the same as Blowfin. I should take a look at that. Might catch a bull flag right here. So with that kind of move right there, and again, it might come up and swing it one more time and then drop. That's what I was talking about with you. Might come up and swing it one more time and then drop. But it won't do too much in terms of it just being a scalp position. I don't think it's going to do too much, no more than this. I just want to make sure I put that on this. Bluefin took me some time to get used to. It really did. Mexi was the thing. Mexi was the best platform at one point. At one point, because of the low fees, like I love some Mexi. And it took me a while to get used to Mexi. And then when I had to leave Mexi and find another, non KYC platform, Blowfin was the thing, and it took me a while to get used to Blowfin. Now I'm used to Blowfin. I'm used to the Blowfin fees. You know, it's not that bad. It's not that bad to me now. In the beginning, I hated it. But yeah, it's not bad. Oh, I didn't share that horrible freaking loss that I just took. It's okay. It was my choice, right? It's my choice. This is just one of those I don't mind days. It's one of those I don't mind. So I don't mind day. I cut it back on terms of what I'm using on it. So I let it get a little bit further than I normally would on me. Sometimes this won't do any more than a 236, but I'm not playing with no 236s. I was thinking that it probably wouldn't even tap back into this, but the 382 is there. So I'm hoping that if it does, whether or not it wants to momentum turns back up one more time for take out this liquidity right here and then actually do the move. Um, which in that case I would have to move this, of course. But we should not be coming back down below the previous day low. So if you're more interested in a long position, that could be the situation. I'm not taking a new long up here. I should have got that long last night though. I would rather we get a little bit more of a reset on the RSI first, and then take a. Cause I've been having to take the long from the midpoint, which is okay. Um, because that's pretty strong. It's pretty strong. It's just just don't want to deal with the chop. Like if you got long in here yesterday, then you're still, yeah, you're still going. You're still going. That's good because I didn't get long until was this my long? I think this. Hold on, let me see what my long was. That might have been my long. Because the original long I had, I decided to close it out, which was which was from much lower. And the reason why I did it is because I'll never add to it, and just ran out of taking profit from it. That's basically it. So yeah, I got in at average. Let's see. No. I got in right before here, so I got in right here. This was where. No, was this the long from yesterday? I didn't get in from there though. At least I don't. What day was this? Monday. I think this is what happened yesterday, and then price came back down, and you still would still be in. Yeah, you would still be in that. Yeah. So I guess I got in right here. If I had to guess on it, because I know it was a midpoint reversal where I got in at. Yeah, because it was a midpoint reversal, and then this was the one from yesterday because it was a midpoint reversal as well. So we haven't been really dropping down that low. Um, This I didn't take. I recall this because I was thinking that we could go lower. So yeah, it was right here. This is where I got in at because it was right here that day before, and I was thinking that maybe this was going to be. Now this is where I knew I was wrong too. Likely it was wrong because we didn't really drop enough on the RSI for me. But I was thinking that this was a wave 3. We were putting in a wave 4, and then we were going to get another little drop to the downside. And I was trying to play the short on that. But I said that if price action came back up above came back up and it tapped into the 1.618 on the move back up, then I was going to be out of that trade because the market was going to be doing something different if it did that. And then, of course, it ripped. And so after that, I got in on this retracement right here. And like I said, I considered this yesterday. Right in here, I considered that move right there. But I did more than consider that long right there. I think I actually did enter in this long right here, and then this wick right here stopped me out because I set a tight stop loss on it. I was just feeling funny around the area. And I let it stop me out. And I was like, I'm not going to bother with that, trying to take another long on it because I have a long still open. And I think my long is going to be fine. Otherwise, my short would have to work for me because I shorted from right here. I shorted that. And then, yeah, I think I did take a long right there. And then this wick stopped me out. And then it went on. And I considered going back into it when I saw this drop right here on this wick. And I was like, oh, it's not going down at all. Because the posture stayed up through here. I was like, oh, we got that wick, but momentum isn't switching, and I just didn't do it. So yeah, I think that's how that happened. Hold on, let me see. This wouldn't be one of those situations where I'd be like, let me take partial profit on it and leave a runner either. This is just one of those um, just take the money and run situations right now. I was reading this article yesterday too, and they were talking about I think it was one of the XRP investors or something like that. But anyway, he sold XRP and he rotated it over into Bitcoin, and so now his holdings are there. It was it's an article in here. What was it? Um, was it Garlinghouse? Is that who it was? They've done so many more articles since I read that last night. At least I skimmed through that article. Yeah, they wrote so many more articles since then, and some of them have disappeared. It could have been this person right here. Because they either sold most of their XRP or all of their XRP and they rotated it into Bitcoin. So, yeah, I think that's who it was, though. I think. It's a good start. It's a good start, Biddy. I really like for it to do that 50. That would be great, but I don't know that we're gonna do it. I don't know that we're gonna do 50. We would just be tapping into the 60 coming back into 82, 238. We'd just be tapping back into 60 doing that. So we might only do that 382 retracement. Um, if we did that, that would be good though. That would be this right here. Um, but right now it looks like we might only just do this 60 right here. Okay, and I said I wasn't going to leave a runner, that this is just one of those take the money and run situations. And I really do believe that that's what it is. Come on down. Please don't stop right there. What I am going to do though is take 80% of this position. I'll take 80% of it. I'll leave 20% in here. and and then stop losses in place on this thing right here. Because I just don't know that it'll do more than that. And it's 8 o'clock too. And just don't think it's going to do more than that. So, but I'm going to take 80 out, and then I just let the rest of, you know what, I might actually go ahead and close out the whole thing. I don't know. As you really can't get no good short. I might just get bullish divergence from here. More than likely. Yeah, already. It's acting funny. Let's see what this situation is going to look like. Just want to say thank you for stopping by to join me today. Um, yeah. Oil was getting a nice little sell off early this morning, more, even more than what it had did the prior day. I saw it just nuking earlier this morning. I'm gonna look at that before I jump off of here too. I'm gonna go ahead and before we even get to that point, because I don't like how slow we moving towards it, and we're almost coming into it. We could just absolutely nuke if it wanted to. I know that much, but I wouldn't expect for us to go below that previous day low. I'm really, really trying to be patient, but shorting is very irritating. Shorting is very irritating. I might have to pick up another long. I will do that if I will do that. I will pick up another long because you ain't winning unless you're longing right now. Not winning unless you're longing. A 4 hour candle just open at 8. So come on, Bitcoin, stop playing. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. Come on. All right. I went ahead and locked in something. I just went ahead and locked in something because um, I still haven't, you know, recovered from that short that I tried to do, which was, you know, like I said, I was just doing it because I was in my feelings. I wasn't actually waiting for any sort of signal, but I went ahead and closed out a little bit on the. Actually, I closed out 80% on it. I closed out 80%, and I left the 20% in here, and I don't think we're gonna do more than this. But they're gonna have to stop me out of the other 20. And so if they stop me out of the other 20, then I just see how we do with the bullish divergence because I think we're gonna put in some bull dips in here. Yeah, stop loss to break even for me now. Now that I have secured something. Just go ahead and highlight that. Let's see. I just keep that there. So if it comes back up, then I'll just look at that one. It only worked for a little while over here. I'm just keeping track of when it, if I have any issues, what happens if I have any issues. I did this one. last night. I did this too, but I did it. See, now it taps it. Like, girl, you could have held out a little bit longer and locked in a little bit more on that little 80% you just took out. It's going too slow for me. Uh-uh. Had real country on that one. Real southern. Uh-uh. Like like I'm on a plantation somewhere. Uh-uh. Uh-uh. Anyway. Oh, I don't think we're doing more than this. All right. I'll probably start putting in some bull divs in here. I mean, like this right here would be a swing failure. We turning back up right here. I'm not gonna look to take a long right here though. If it comes in, if it at least swings down through here, I will take a long off of it, but it probably won't. Well, if it at least swung into this one, because that's gonna be me assuming that we're not coming below the previous day low, which anything can happen. It doesn't look like we're about to roll over though. It just doesn't look like we're gonna roll over. 4 hour, in fact, had well. I really don't know what's going on with that 4 hour. We got a cloud cover on the 4 hour, which, um, which is a lack of energy, but it's not playing out. Bearish plays are just not playing out. Yeah. So I think at this point, yeah, I'm not interested from this point on the long. It's really enticing me though to open a new one. I'm not gonna do it. I was looking at this oil, yeah, oil this morning, just taking an absolutely tank, like an aggressive candle drop, like not just the chop, but the aggressive candle drop in here, and then it's started to pick it back up right here. Starting to hold ground a little bit right there. Still doesn't look. Ooh, actually, this is a good place for me to. Oh, I got those numbers in. I just don't have it on. All right, so let me see what that looks like. It might be too low. Okay, so I won't be able to use that anyway. Let's go back with my standard. Let me see what that said. Yeah, that's a little bit too. I'm gonna cancel on that because I don't like that. but it could roll back up that. Let me see. Oh, it's back below this floor. Is this floor for this time frame for the 4? Yes, it is for the 4-hour time frame. Okay, but it might be better to... No, I can't do that because it won't match it. Okay, just stick with this and wait for it to reclaim. I would be interested in that. This is what I was thinking Bitcoin was going to do, the drop and roll back up and then drop again, which looks like it would have been fine over here for that top on oil right there. But it looks like I have to wait for it to come back up here right now unless it flip back down again. That candle right there looks really good though. That candle looks really good. On oil, Bitcoin pumping. I knew I was probably going to be like, I just don't want to take no long from there. Hopefully it fails. I hope Bitcoin fails. Let me turn that off. That's a nice candle though. Let me look at it from a 24-hour. Yeah. Cool beans. Nice roll up. Check SPY. SPY decided it wasn't going to drop this trend line. I ended up moving it yesterday. Later on, I just went ahead and set it right here because it's not rolling over at all. We're about to come to where I think we should top out as far as the deviation goes. However, I might have to look at more deviations. I think when I did it for SPY, though, I looked at the prior deviations on it and compared it to the prior deviations, and it suggested that that would be the max that it did prior before as well. I guess we're about to find out if that's going to be the case because it's just not. I was using this time frame over here. You only got a small little retracement right there, so that didn't give much. Not if you're looking at it from the 4-hour, you didn't get much. If you go out to the 15-minute time frame, you got a lot. You got a lot. You got a lot. But you didn't get much there. Okay, so maybe. And I think I had also, I gotta drop this for now. That looks like that would have been the breakout. Let's see if it pushes back up above that. Yep, that would have been the one where it actually crossed above that line right there. Oh, that's why I had this other thing in here, but it's not working, so I took it off. I don't need that anymore. And then I did an extension on this. I might need to change. Might need to change how I got this extension in here. Oh no. I might need to change that. No, I'm sticking with what I got in here with this. I mean, Bitcoin is just about to fully engulf that candle to the downside. I just figured it wasn't going to get too far when it did that anyway. It's all right. Oh, good. Good. 15-minute noise. Yeah, set that there. Actually, I'm not going to set anything in here, not up here. And just stay focused on that. Yeah, it's this. Yeah, I did add another deviation in here. I forgot I did add this deviation in here too. Let me lock it down. But it's here. Then this would be the next resistance right here. And then the final one is going to be right here. Because this thing ain't stopping. It's not stopping. It's not stopping. It didn't put in any more bullish divergence just through here. 24-hour. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, this thing just looks strong. I don't care what nobody say. It just looks strong. Let's see if the 4-hour won't give a little bit more in here today. Give a little something right there today. I don't think I needed to look at anybody else. This nuke, yeah, nuked. Four-hour just flat, which means it's a break below and not a break up. Drop this. Didn't last too long. About to hit the golden pocket now on Google. But you seen Intel. Intel didn't care. We're at the 1.618 right now on Intel. On the 3-month, we're still rising on the 3-month. So I'm looking in here and then I'm going to be looking there, which is why I got to notate it like this. So really this one right here, you just got to look elsewhere on this one. Oh no, 1.618 is right there. We're at the 2. Intel is at 2. Ooh, Intel is at 2. Wonderful Intel. I'm watching the 3-month on Intel as opposed to any other time frame. So still strong, still going up, likely continuation. I do need to put like a 3 in here. But yeah, still strong, still going up. Forget about it. Intel is a monster. AMD, I put a pause on it right in here based on the deviation, but we passed that pause. Pre-market, we're at 413. So myself, along with many other analysts, got it absolutely wrong. And Intel is, AMD is skyrocketing. No turn back anyway. It tapped out twice at this level before. Tapped out twice right here. Oh, let me see. Does that match? Or did it swing on that one? Nope. Tapped out twice right in here before. I'm gonna look for it to tap out again once. Not that I'm looking to short it, because I'm not. Just looking for where I might buy back in my position. But we surpassed this. Boom. Boom. Let me see it from a 4-hour. How terrible is it? Yeah, I didn't have I didn't do a deviation beyond here. This was it for, this was it for this one. So it was just right here and it just blasted straight through it. No pause, no nothing. Interesting. Even here, the rollback didn't last too long. When we got this break, it didn't last too long. That's of course we put in, of course you can see that difference. Like you can clearly see the math ain't mathing on this drop. The math is not mathing. And then again, it doesn't match again. And then in here, it's not mathing. Come on back. Come on back. AMD, come on back. So it is rolling over a little bit. Goodness gracious. Everything is just on a rip. I was looking at my portfolio this morning in here. Amazon, that's about the only thing that's acting right with me. I'm becoming a master. Master of Amazon now. Amazon is just slow. That's all. It's just really, really slow. It's really, really slow. But it's done. I would not be mad at Amazon if it continued up. As we looked at this, got the initial rejection, and then the one I posted included this right here. Um, which I haven't had it on in a minute. Yep. So it would have started from there. It almost hit the actual target down. I said it would take out this right here. But it didn't push in all the way to claim that. What else was that based on? 24 hour. Yeah, because things change over time. I was looking forward to at least do something like this. So you can see how we're holding. Ugh. Hold on. For, yeah, that is for the 24 in here. Oh yeah, that's correct. This sucker just bounced. This was for this. This was for this. And what happened is it bounced straight up off of it. Dropped into it. It would have been this wick right here. You can't tell it because once it bounces away, you don't notice it. Yeah, you can see the little rise in structure that we have in here on it. But it bounced off of it. And let me just fix one other thing in here. But with this one, I would just be looking for the pullback to add to this. I really don't like adding when it's too far away from where I entered at. In this case, I'll be looking for this to break down below here. Instead of looking for a swing failure at the top, I look for it to fail this line right here and break below it. Go Amazon. I already saw Google. It's Microsoft, right? Still holding up around this 382, 50% retracement right here, which I like the idea of that. So let me see something. You want it to continue to hold this because if it's not holding this, and let me see if it has an actual squeeze because that's going to make a difference too. I could tell you based on the current direction that it would just indicate more downside if it doesn't. Now, it's not a squeeze, but it looks like it is starting to. Let me do like this right here so I can see it a little bit better. We start putting in the onion right here and it's not bouncing away from here. You could be looking at another dropping on Microsoft. That's what it looks like to me. If it's not holding here, this shallow retracement. Actually, this isn't even the shallow retracement anymore, because this was based off of this point to this point when it initially got the drop in, and it pushed up higher from there. So, that changes everything. I haven't been back over here to look at it. All right, it still hasn't actually closed below it. Okay. Let me drag this down. Yeah, but if it's not holding here, then it's gonna expand to the downside. Any bear div? Yeah, it did get the bear div through here. Bearish divergence, but not right here. So it's okay. I just think that if it doesn't bounce away from here, though, it's in trouble. It's still not good enough to hold. I did have a hold on it around 370, but it's gonna drop. So you're sitting on the green moving average because you're at the mean. Yeah, so we know we're sitting on that green moving average because we're at the mean. So this squeeze right here, this could end up breaking down. Sorry to say for anybody that's in that, just be careful there. With Microsoft, I'm hoping it pumps to the upside and holds that shallow retracement. Tesla closer to breaking out than breaking down. From a what's the word I want to use? I don't even know the word I want to use. Structurally, it's closer to pushing up higher than it is to seeing something like catastrophic to the downside. I think they're selling Tesla for SpaceX, to be honest with you. All right. Let me look back at this thing. I still remain I'm a buyer if it comes into here. I wouldn't buy it anywhere else. Gold we were talking about was a buyer yesterday, and we were talking about it. For yay, Bitcoin is holding out a little bit right now. It's holding out a little bit. Let me look at gold from somewhere else. I can't look at it from here. Oh, let me see what my I'm now cutting the check for now. For now. Now it's cutting the check for now. Let me look at. Yeah, this is where we're looking at gold from right here. So it's like gold looks like it could be a buy. Yeah, that's a nice move on gold right there. There's one more thing I want to see on it, but I said I was gonna buy it too. Would have got in really good because none of this had happened just yet. Hmm. But didn't do it. This pullback will be what I need, but gold is looking really good. Gold is looking pretty good in here. I might go ahead and pick up a little bit through here. Um, um, yeah, I might pick up a little bit. Let me change these out. Huh. I might be willing right about here. That's some good liquidity underneath there, though, isn't it? No, no, no. That side already got taken, so it's just this one right here. Um, my stop would not be this large, trust me. It won't even be that big. I'm gonna stop lying to y'all. My stop ain't gonna be no more than something like this because I don't play around with my stop loss. I really don't. Um, it'll be something more like that. I'm not concerned about protecting, where everybody else has a stop set down here. I'm not worried about that because if it's going beyond here, then it's going too far already. So I don't need to hold it. And I would simply be looking for a mean reversion, hold the mean reversion, and then get the pump. Of course, I'm going to wait to see what the reaction looks like. But if I can get a pullback on this right here, um, which could that be a golden pocket? I wonder. No, that's more than a golden pocket. So I would need the 50 then. I would need for it to hold on something like this to take the entry. Yeah, that's cool because this will move in the next hour. So I'm going to raise this up to about right in here. I can live with that. Yeah, I can live with that. I'm going to set that on that. Yeah, I can live with that. That ain't too bad. So I'm gonna look for something like this. If I get it, then I will enter into a position on gold and look for gold to come up. And I like that. I think that could work. And if it does more than that, then great. Silver. We never did this one. So we only kept this one going on silver, which I didn't take. But it played all the way out. Nice. I was hoping that this thing dropped down, and it didn't. And then this is the support area right here. So it just came back and held that. Okay, cool. I didn't think silver was going to do that good, to be honest with you. I thought platinum looked really good, and watch platinum be the one that sunk on me. Don't care about no copper. Did I have a setup in here for copper? Yeah, the setup was copper fall. Copper didn't fall. Platinum I thought was looking good. And platinum never came down and let anybody in this position. It didn't get any further than that. I was insistent that I didn't want to take it over here. I remember the day it dropped into here, and I said, nope, I'll take it right here. If it comes down into here, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. But copper, I mean, platinum looks real good. I was right. Platinum does look good though. And technicals was all off, all off. Entry point was all off on it anyway. It broke up from this little triangle. That was the thing. I said if it came back to the low of the triangle right here, then I would take it. But it didn't come back to it. And then it broke out. And then it hit resistance. Okay, hit resistance. Came back into support. I'm not gonna trade no platinum anyway. I hate this little backgroundy thing. Is that what that is? No. Dang. So you get to see how I don't get into an entry. It happens. It ain't no money loss. But dang, I just really thought that maybe it'll come back and tap this. But you don't want it to come back and tap it anyway, to be honest with you. If you're bullish on it, you don't want it to come back and tap it. And that trend line right there was this right here. That was those 2 points right there. I didn't like that entry. That was the entry. Shame on me. It tapped it so perfect too. Okay, so it did this. You don't need this anymore. Get rid of that. Don't need that anymore either. Go back to gold because this is embarrassing. We'll see how this works out. If it makes sense, then I'm going to take a long on this. If it comes into it and it makes sense, I will take a long on this. Stop loss is going to be relatively close. Not mad at it. I think that was it. Back over here to Bitcoin, which is chopping right here. This gets moved anyway. So you can see whether or not it maintains the momentum. That's new. Oh boy, Bitcoin. I did that yesterday in here, and I could have did a lot better taking the long off of that. I just don't want to. Chances are stronger taking a long, even though it looks like it's the top. Just chances are stronger just taking a long. Kind of late now because we would have did it. Would have did it right in here. And said this was the only time we did more than a 382.50 retracement was this time right here. I think we did like a golden pocket tap right there. Yeah, this was the one. No, we did. Hold on. Then what was I looking at? Maybe I wasn't looking at that. Maybe I was looking at this. Yeah, I was looking at this. So from the current pivot below here, yeah, that was the first time I've seen us actually do a golden pocket 786 in a long time. Aside from that, it has been, if you're going from your low to your high, it's only been like a 382 50% retracement and then a bounce. In a bullish market, you can tell you're in a bullish market too, because that's about all you'll get. Is that right there before continuing up higher. So I could have, let me see something. So I could have done an extension on this into here and then the 1-to-1. Okay. Huh. I didn't realize that. Yesterday I did this extension because this was only a 382 retracement. So I only did this extension, was looking for the shorts in here. I took those. I did not realize. I didn't realize this right here. So everything still leads to here. Um, if you are someone that's long in this, I would, let's just say you longed it like that. I would, because you're not looking for it to come back down below the previous day low. I still think a mean reversion is good for it. If it were to happen, but it likely won't happen, you could actually pull this down a little bit more, and then you're targeting this golden pocket right in here, and then this 382 right there, which I personally feel like it'll do more, so something like that, which is a good, you know, a strong risk to reward. You'll have your ups and downs through here, which is why I'm still hanging on to the long I have. I haven't taken any more profit out of the long I have, simply because I'm waiting for this to get hit, and then I'll see what the daily time frame looks like. But there will be some swings through here, so don't get it twisted. It won't be a straight moonshot, especially from this time frame right here. It will do some shabby stuff in here. I would trail along with wherever my previous day high is at. I think that's correct for Tuesday, for Tuesday, for Tuesday, for Tuesday. Yep, that was my high for Tuesday. Or be more conservative and, you know, TP, TP, and yeah, something more like that. Let me show you this cloud cover on this 4 hour. Nope, because that looks amazing. It's right here. I was talking about it earlier with you. how you can see like we got this pattern in here, and I usually don't look at this one for any sort of, I usually go with the RSI, but this one right here, and it looks like it had just got that break up. Yeah, it did. So that was where we broke the pattern, and I could see the expansion take place in here too, because it showed it showed the expansion. No, I got the settings differently. I have to change the settings on this to show you that. I'm gonna change it. So it just turned back up on this. See, that's clean taps into it before that little turn back up. But there is a cloud cover on this. When I look at this, like you can see, the cloud cover from the signals right here. This is the one that tends to, be the one that I look at if I'm looking for a crossover of this line anyway. Mainly I'm looking for the crossover between the top side of the channel and the lower side of the channel. Um, but that's just extra, like it shows me some other information. So usually for me is coming into this, or sometimes I'll put the uh, let's see, upper two on. So a 200 rejection right there, 200 rejection right there. 300, you're doing a whole lot. You're doing a whole lot if you had three. That tends to lead to something else. But I usually tend to look for that. You can see how you got the 200 drop right there. You haven't come back up to two. You haven't fallen back below the one. So that's what I would look at this one right here for. Like not coming below one. Um, this was from the two, so you don't have to pay that any attention. That was from the that was from the two right there. Yeah, and that one too. But yeah, you're in between worlds right now. So expansion will take place here eventually, but it has this cloud cover on it, and I don't like that because usually that if you ever seen a cloud cover like Bitcoin back in 2020 one, I believe it was during the bear market when we got that second high, it had a cloud cover, and the cloud cover was an indication that your price is just waiting to roll over on you. So I don't like seeing this. Now, can it invalidate it? It usually actually works. Like it has a high rate win rate that it doesn't. What I'm saying win rate. It has probabilities are higher that it is showing that there's some cap in here. And I know that we're wedging out. We have the wedgie structure through here. As we're reaching for that golden pocket, we have that wedgie structure. So I don't like the 4 hour time frame at all. At all. But it can push through it. It just ended it more than anything. It indicates a squeeze because the Bitcoin daily time frame did it. Um, but more than anything, it indicates a squeeze. Now you got the initial breakdown on the daily, or at least the initial correction on the daily, and that was when we got that drop down below. Oh, I guess we dropped down to about 75,000 or something like that. When we got the cloud cover on the daily, but we've come back up that signal in here since then, and I really like using the signal when we're outside of the bands. Otherwise I use the channel itself. Again, I think the channel itself is more thorough, and you can see we're not like we did a little swipe right there, but you have to take stuff like that with a grain of salt. We're squeezing really bad on this 4 hour time frame. And we're just sideways right now, but eventually it will catch up. Because we're not even coming back to a 60 period like we did this one time right here into the mean right there. We got the 50% bounce right here. But we're, besides that, we are squeezing. And I don't think I've seen it squeeze this bad on the 4 hour in a long time. Let's see, the only thing about that squeeze though, crap. Let me turn off this right here. It's annoying. But I promise you, I do not like this time frame. Maybe we have to invalidate the bearish divergence. Maybe. But I don't like this time frame. And it's the only time frame you'll notice too, where the MACD isn't waving around a lot. Is this 4 hour? It's the only time frame you'll notice that with, because every other time frame, you'll notice. I think I put it right here. You'll notice how this looks as opposed to back here where you can see a little bit more curviness. Like this is the only time frame right now where you don't notice this on, like even on the daily time frame. Even on the daily, if you look at the daily is wavy. It's wavy. 1 hour is wavy, just choppy. Of course, you're seeing the 15-minute in here. I mean, it was standing straight up a little while ago, of course, with that push we just got. But this is one time frame right here, where ever since we got that cross back over here, where we, and I can see the madness in here. MACD tapped out right here and right here. Actually, MACD is tapped out a few times right in here. Let me put it right here. So MACD has turned down a few times from this point. Yeah, even right here. Look. MACD has turned down a few times right here. And I'm just paying attention to that. So this is something we're picking up together. So let's just see if this is if it works this time too. Maybe it does this right here. You know, we got that little pattern right here before it actually, you know, you can see we had a cloud cover right in here as well. We had that cloud cover right in here. And then it did that one last little push in here. But this has seemed consistent with momentum on the MACD on the 4 hour. It's right in here. So I'm gonna follow this. Let me change the color. Go with some color I don't have on here. Let's see what happens around here before we manage to get to that golden pocket. So 982, something like that. I should I raise it up some? Let's see if I put it on this one. I hope that little 20% that's left on here plays out. I really don't like the 4 hour. I'm gonna leave on that note with this 4 hour situation in here. Really don't like this 4 hour. It's enough of squeezing. I wanna know that real money is actually sitting up in here at this point and not just trying to squeeze out shorts. That's already coming back down here. Thank goodness I didn't take no. That how it be like. Just let price come back down. Just let it come back down. Then you be like, man, I'm so glad I didn't even take that. I'm so glad I didn't take that. Be praying for a pullback, then the pullback happen. Man, I'm so glad I didn't take that. I'm so glad I didn't buy that. I hope Bitcoin fall to the floor. I ain't gonna even lie to you. I hope it not fall to the floor because I'm not bearish, but it's just not making sense right now. Unless I'm on the daily time frame and higher, it's just not making sense for me at this point. And the lower time frames are they're just screaming for help. Where could we fall on the 4 hour? We can recover all of that rising wedge. We could. We can recover all that rising wedge, and that would be down to about 79,200 on the 4 hour. If we recover all of that rising wedge, 79,200. That's taking this liquidity because this is the rising portion right here. That would be taking this liquidity. I'll say you ain't getting this right here. Go back with this swing right here. I like that it so this would be the second time that it's doing a deeper correction. Cool. There's that previous day high. Yeah, I bumped right past this right here. I don't want that anymore. I really want this liquidity to be taken. I'm hoping that that 4 hour will play out eventually. I hope it does. Like, I just hate the 4 hour. I'm gonna see what that MACD, if that MACD on that 4 hour, if it'll cap it. Alright, so we just tapped into the cloud on the 15-minute as well. Lower that cloud is 81,578. So the lower that cloud is going to be right in here. So below here means below 30, which would be technically down here somewhere on the RSI. If that were to happen, it would be down here. Right now we are holding at the mean on the 50 with that recovery back up above that. But if it did something like this, that would match up with the 786. So that would be your that would be where you wouldn't want to see price rolling over lower than here. Because here, if you're bullish right now, which I mean I'm bullish, but I just want to see, I want to see more of a correction. I want to see the indicators look a little bit better. Since I do work with them, I want to see them look better, and they don't. So I'm going to be watching for liquidity in here. If potentially we were to lose, let's just say we were to lose a previous day high, which would show some sort of weakness in Bitcoin, a little bit of weakness in Bitcoin, especially if we take the lows of the previous day low as well. Would show some weakness. I hope it does. Of course, that would take me out of my position, which not a big deal. Yep. So I'm gonna be patient with Bitcoin. Nice little bottom and tail for now. At this point, I'm not gonna be looking for a new long. I'm work with the long that I have, and I'm gonna be continuously trying to take the short. So if I just keep getting stopped out, at least I will get stopped out. The last time I didn't get stopped out in profit. I gave myself some more wiggle room, which I shouldn't have done that. But I've taken profit off of this short that we're currently sitting in, and I mean, that was a nice little 19 plus so drop when we did get it. Stop losses at break even. So I will not be afraid to try shorting again. And I'm just going to watch that 4-hour. So that's going to be my go-to today. It's just going to be the 4-hour. And seeing if we can't get a drop. $79.7. That 79,200 I quoted, that's a number that won't change unless we blasting off to the upside. That's the only way that number change. We have to move quite a bit to the upside for that number to change. It can be very static. So 79,200 is a real number. And so is that 81,578 for the 15-minute time frame, which again, this 786, let's just say if it were to fall below this point right here, you'll also be below dynamic cloud, and you would be looking for more of a correction in here. However it goes, like I'm not saying you're going to get one big candle that just drops to the downside. You'll see some chop along the way, because that's how markets move, in zigzags and not in straight lines. So yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go. It's 9:14.